connections to the world.
Every language on humanity.
Let's bring the world of learning in one channel.
Welcome to Visitors Revelations English TV.
Hello, grade 8 learners. I am Teacher Marlene, your English teacher for today. Join me as we discover and conquer the world of English 8. So, are you ready? Last session, we discussed about signals indicating coherence. I hope that you were able to understand our previous lesson, and I also hope that you were able to answer all the activities in your self-learning modules. But if you didn't, don't worry, there is always room for improvement. Now, we are in Quarter 1, Week 7 and 8. And our most essential learning competency is use a range of verbs, adjectives, and adverbs to convey emotional response or reaction to an issue to persuade. In this lesson, you are expected to identify different verbs, adjectives, and adverbs as persuasive language materials and to use them in conveying emotions or reactions to certain issues or standpoints. Today, we're going to discuss about verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. And today's lesson highlights the review of concept on these three parts of speech. Let's first have persuasive text and its grammatical features. What is a persuasive text? It is a selection or passage that contains one's personal emotion, idea, or response to an issue. It provides one standpoint as to how issues should be addressed and examined. It mainly expresses exposition, argumentation, discussion, review, and evaluation. In writing a persuasive text, the write-up includes A statement of position or the overview of argumentation revealing one's standpoint. B. Argumentation that provides supporting evidences relative to one's standpoint. And C. Reinforcement of one's standpoint that provides the summary of one's position based on the point of argumentation. In a persuasive text, the use of certain grammatical features helps in emphasizing one's viewpoint. Commonly, understanding the context of verbs, adjectives, and adverbs aid in strengthening one's position. However, right choice of words still matters. Now, let's review first the concepts about verbs. Verbs expresses action or state of being. They determine the subject as the doer or receiver of an action. They also complete the thought of a sentence. Basically, verbs have four principal parts known as follows: the base form, the present participle, the past, and the participle. Let's have the word want in the base form. Its present participle is wanting and wanted for the past. Same with its participle, which is wanted also. Next, we have plant for the base form, planting in the present participle, planted for both past and participle. The third word, let's have rise for the base form, rising in the present participle, rose in the past, and risen in the participle. Another word, we have drive for the base form, driving in the present participle, drove in the past, and driven for participle. Lastly, let's take an example, the word set for the base form, which has the same form in its present participle, past, and participle. There are two voices of verbs, Active, which is the subject or the doer of the action. Passive, or the subject is the receiver of the action. Let's take first the active voice. The students submitted their project to their teacher. The passive voice is their project was submitted by the students to their teacher. Verbs can also be classified as to being regular or irregular. Regular verbs form their past tense and past participle by adding d or ed. Meanwhile, irregular ones are formed by either a change in spelling or sometimes no change at all. Regular verbs, for example, we have want, wanted, wanted, jump, jumped, jumped, pray, prayed, prayed. Irregular verbs, let's have catch, caught, caught, see, saw, seen. And the word let, which has no change at all. Furthermore, verbs have tenses. These tenses are used to indicate time when an action happened, happens, or will happen. Let's have first the simple tenses. Simple present tense tells an action that is repeated or ongoing. The verb usually ends in its simple or base form or S form. Example, the sun rises in the east. Next, we have simple past tense. It tells an action that happened already in the past. Example, Jason visited his family last year. And for simple future tense, which tells an action that will happen in the future. The verb is usually preceded by auxiliary verb shall or will. Example of this is, Nathan will fly to Davao next week. Let's have perfect tenses. Present perfect tense tells an action that happened in the past and is still happening in the present. The main verb, written its past participle, is preceded by has for singular subjects, except I and singular you, and have for plural verbs, including I and singular you. Let's take for example, Jocelyn has worked as social worker in the city. Another example, the students have prepared for their presentation. Next, let's have past perfect tense, which tells an action that happened and ended in the past before another action in the past happened. The main verb written in its past participle is preceded by the word had. Example, I had cooked before he asked me to do so. Next, we have the future perfect tense. This tells us an action that will happen and end in the future before another action in the future happens. In here, the main verb is written in its past participle, which is preceded by will have. Example, by the time I finish this project, I will have eaten more chocolates. Progressive form of these simple and perfect tenses are also embodied in verbs. Okay, we're done with the reviewing of concept of verbs. So now, let's proceed with adjectives. Adjectives are parts of speech used to modify a noun or a pronoun. They are used to provide descriptions of the items they modify. They answer these questions: what kind, how many, or which ones. There are various types of adjectives which include the following. First, the descriptive adjectives which tell us the quality of a noun or pronoun. Examples: beautiful house, friendly neighbor, adorable husband, handsome man. Next, the proper adjectives, which provide the derivation of adjective from proper nouns. Examples: German sausage, Japanese tea, Italian pasta, and French fries. The third one, we have the limiting adjectives. This tells the restrictions of words it modifies. Examples: that house, those birds, an apple, the student, this painting, these animals, a chair, my heart, 3 balloons, your car, 5th floor, and first lady. The fourth one, we have interrogative adjectives, which are used to ask questions. Examples: whose apple is this? What fruits are we bringing? Lastly, we have coordinating adjectives. Coordinating adjectives are composed of 2 or more adjectives separated by a comma instead of a coordinating conjunction. Example: long, busy day, cold, wet evening, hot, dry afternoon, and funny, talkative teacher. Now, let's proceed with the reviewing of concept on adverbs. Adverbs are used to modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. They are analyzed by asking the questions when, where, why, how, under what conditions, and to what extent. Adverbs of time answer the question when. Example, we have early, tomorrow, tonight, today, yesterday. While adverbs of manner answer the question how. Example, slowly walked, quickly announced. Adverbs of place answer the question where. Examples, somewhere, nearby, anywhere. We also have the adverbs of degree, which answers the question how much. Examples, very, quite, completely, and little. Adverbs of frequency, which answer the question how often. Examples, always, never, sometimes, and often. Okay, since we already learned our lesson about verbs, adjectives, and adverb, let's do learning task 4. Copy the news article published by GMA News online. Encircle the verbs, box the adjectives, and underline the adverbs that express strong or pressing points. Roque, Duterte to deliver SONA at Batasan even as some expected attendees tested positive for COVID-19. Published on July 27, 2020 at 2:50 p.m. and updated at 2:53 p.m. President Rodrigo Duterte will still deliver his 5th State of the Nation Address or SONA at the Batasang Pambansa even as some individuals expected to attend the event have contracted COVID-19, Malacanang said Monday. As of 2:30 p.m., President Duterte is expected to deliver his 5th SONA at Batasan. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said in a message to reporters. Roque issued a statement after House Deputy Speaker Johnny Pimentel and at least 6 palace personnel who were supposed to render technical support during the SONA tested positive for COVID-19. Only those who will test negative for COVID-19 will be allowed to attend the SONA physically based on the event's safety protocols. Earlier, it was reported that cabinet executives who tested negatives are attending the SONA at the Batasan. Secretaries Minardo, Guevara of Justice, Wendell Avisado of Budget and Management, and Delphine Lorenzana of Defense, as well as Presidential Spokesperson Harry Roque. Secretaries Eduardo Año of Interior and Local Government and William Dar of Agriculture, as well as Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles, will also be present during the event, according to a separate report by DZBB's Tuesday New. Duterte will deliver his SONA before a joint session of Congress at 4 p.m. Berhel Lopez, RSJ, GMA News. Okay, we're done with our today's lesson. To sum it up, let's have these following concepts. Adjectives are used to modify a noun or pronoun. They answer questions like what kind, how many, or which ones, and have various types. While verbs express action or state of being, and verbs have four principal parts: the two voices of the verbs and the tenses. Adverbs are used to modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. They answer questions when, where, why, how, under what condition, and to what extent. So that ends our lesson about verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. Don't forget to like and subscribe DZBest MNHS English TV, and see you next time as we learn another English lesson. Bye!